The senator from Kansas.
Mr. President, I ask the quorum call be lifted and unanimous consent to address the Senate as if in morning business.
Without objection, the senator is recognized.
Mr. President, thank you. Back home in Kansas, we're spending our time down on our knees and then looking up to the sky. We're praying and hoping for rain. Our state, along with much of the country, is in a very serious drought. Crops are dying. Cattle are hungry and are being sold off, and water is in scarce supply. Every county in Kansas, all 105, have now been declared disaster counties. Half of the continental United States is in the worst drought since 1956, and the situation is expected only to get worse. In this photograph, my friend Ken Grecian from Palco, Kansas, it's a little town in northwest Kansas, is pictured here with dry grass and hungry cattle. Over the past few weeks, Ken has had to reduce his herd at lower prices than before because there's just not enough feed to feed the cattle. Ken, like many producers, have been diligently building their herds of cattle over many years and are now seeing those cattle sold due to the drought, undermining their efforts year after year to develop a herd. Paul and Tommy Westfall from Haven, Kansas, just a little bit north and west of Wichita, and their two daughters, Jenna and Regan, are pictured here standing next to their failed crops. South Central Kansas has been hard hit this year by the drought. The corn on the right never got above chest high and dried up months before it was time to harvest. Paul swathed and soon will bale his failed beans in the left of the photo and try to save some of that for feed for cattle this winter. Hard times are there, and they're not over. The U.S. has a long history of drought and recovery. From the Dust Bowl to today, we have faced periods of drought. In the 30s, we were often called the worst of hard times. Don Hartwell, a farmer on the Kansas and Nebraska border, captured how hard it was when he wrote in his diary on May the 21st, 1936. He wrote this: 15 years ago, the Republican river bottom was a vast expanse of alfalfa and cornfields. Now it's practically a desert of wasted, shifting sand, washed out ditches, cockleburs, and devastation. I doubt very much if it ever can be reclaimed. A few weeks later, he wrote in his diary, I wonder where I will be a year from now. In the 1930s, folks were faced with severe drought, which resulted in the Dust Bowl. People were forced to abandon their farms and ranches and to give up the only way of life they knew. Crops, livestock, and livelihoods vanished with the dust. They were unimaginable times. Thankfully, those unimaginable times passed, and the rains came, and the Republican river bottom was reclaimed. This happened with the help of the good Lord and by individual efforts by those who refused to give in to those bad times, to give in to nature. If you look at the drought now and compare it to that of the 1930s, you'll notice a huge difference. There is no Dust Bowl. The programs and conservation management tools that were used have worked. The forward-thinking American farmer and rancher, the landowners that adopted new land and livestock management practices, have made conservation the most effective drought mitigation effort available today. But conservation programs are in danger. While many conservation practices can be planned and executed by individual farmers and ranchers, certain programs administered by the Department of Agriculture deserve our attention so that these important initiatives do not expire on September the 30th. In just about 60 days, farm programs will expire, and that means more uncertainty, compounding an already disastrous drought situation. Right now, farmers and ranchers are wondering the same thing Don Hartwell wondered in 1936. Where am I going to be a year from now? As Congress debates the future of domestic agricultural policy, it is critical that risk mitigation tools are included for farmers and ranchers. Most important among these tools is crop insurance. With the absence of direct payments in both the House and Senate versions of a new farm bill, crop insurance is and will remain the last protective tool available to those producers. Viable crop insurance ensures that a farm operation can survive difficult times when there's drought or hail or flood, in hopes that they can experience a successful yield the following year. Farmers always have hope. Tough times now, come back next year. But crop insurance, as valuable it is, does not cover all the problems that agriculture producers face, and particularly livestock producers are not generally eligible for crop insurance coverage. These producers require risk mitigation and safety net just like producers covered by crop insurance. Disaster programs for livestock, along with crop insurance for cultivation agriculture, give producers the security they need to plan and invest for the future. Currently, ranchers and cattlemen are left with few disaster programs. The 2008 Farm Bill disaster programs expired this year, leaving producers across our drought-stricken country with less protection from Mother Nature. These programs are an important safety net for farmers and ranchers like Ken and Paul deserve to know what the future of these programs will be. We shouldn't expect producers to go plant crops or to buy and sell livestock if they don't know what the rules are. Putting these programs back in place and ensuring a sound safety net is vital for drought recovery, continued conservation work, and for the affordable food supply for the people of our country. Kansas farmers and ranchers shouldn't have to keep guessing. It's too important to their families, their industry, and their nation for more delay. We must give agriculture producers the long-term certainty and support they deserve. While we wait for Washington, we'll continue to hope and pray. Mr. President, I yield the floor.